Okay, I know you guys are like, sis, you've been gone for a month. You can't just leave and then come back and act like shit's okay. I know, I know, I know, I know. Okay, I was going through a lot of shit. I just came back from LA and I've been dealing with a lot. So I know that's no excuse. You know, people go through all types of things and still upload consistently. I know I'm not being consistent. I know that's what I said I was gonna do when I started this channel, so my apologies. And thank you to all of you who still subscribed to me and still kept subscribing even when I wasn't posting. That just shows like y'all's support, and I appreciate that. But now that I am back and better than ever, I feel like I should do a video on how to get rid of those toxic friendships and relationships that are still around you. Because if you don't get rid of those types of things, then you won't be able to grow effectively, just because you have this negative energy surrounding you, and nobody needs that. Also, side note, don't ask me why I have these sunglasses on. They look cute with my outfit. They match my shirt. I want them on. I might take them off later. I have them on because y'all bitches is shady. Basically, I have cut out a lot of people in my life. I had some really close friends that I've completely just shut off from my life. And it's not anything like, oh, I hate them. It's just they were toxic relationships and I needed to know when to get out of them, just because it wasn't healthy for me and it wasn't healthy for my growth and my future and everything like that. I feel like if the people around you are not benefiting you in any way, then why are they around you, you know? So what I feel like I had to realize when releasing myself from my last actual relationship with someone was that just the art of letting go of people. Because I feel like for me, like the young Capricorn that I am, I tend to hold on to relationships. I tend to hold on to people. I tend to cling to them just because I give so much energy and so much of myself to the relationship that it's hard for me to just let go and let go of a situation. I'm not saying, oh, cut them off necessarily, but it's just hard for me to let go. So in this particular situation, I'm not gonna go into too much detail. I'm just gonna explain to you what I realized. Whole time, I know my worth, you know? I know my own value. I know what I offer. I know what I can give, and I know what I deserve. If there's one thing that my dad has always told me, it's that you deserve the world, you deserve everything, and that I deserve the best. And you know, that's just, you know, dad just gassing you up, hyping you up type thing. But it taught me to know that I deserve better in life, period. When it comes to relationships, I realized that in every single relationship I've been in, I've deserved better every single time. Every single relationship I've been in, I've deserved so much better. And it sucks just because when you fall in love with somebody or you really like them and you put so much energy into them, it's hard, because then when you're in love, you feel kind of stuck. It's like, God, how do I leave? How do I leave? But I feel like for me, this time, it was easier because it was more of a mutual thing, and because we're so cool, we were both mature in the situation. I feel like I knew a long time ago that I should have left the relationship, but like I just had faith and I had hope in the relationship. But it's like, if you can't see it working out, if you can't see it happening. My phone just fell. I hope it was still recording the whole time. Damn it, I forgot where I left off. But anyways, I stuck with it because I had hope and I had faith and I believed this person. I trusted this person with the promises and certain things that they made to better our relationship, you know? And I feel like that happens when you love somebody. So that's what was hard for me. But I had to wake up and I was like, can I see myself with this person? Can I honestly see myself moving forward, living a life, straight up just like being with this person? And I said, I don't know. Like I literally was like, I don't know. And normally when you stay in those types of relationships, even when they're toxic, it's because you're thinking in your head, you're like, no, I know that we can make it. I know that blah, blah, blah. I didn't have that. So I felt like that's why I had to leave the situation. It wasn't healthy for either of us, and I think that we both realized that at the end. And I think that just taking time to work on yourself as well as the other person to do the same is the best. And who knows, maybe in the future rekindle something, who knows. It's just that for right now, like, none of that. Yeah, so that was like the most recent relationship that I had to leave once I realized that it was toxic. And it wasn't toxic in a sense of like, oh, he was an abuser, or, you know, we were bruising each other like verbally. It was none of that. It wasn't. Luckily, I was in that type of situation, but I know people who are in that type of situation and have been in that situation, and there's signs for that too. For anybody that's watching this that is in a situation that is toxic and is verbally abusive, physically abusive in any sort of way, you need to leave this situation. I don't know who needs to hear this. I don't know who needed to see this, but you need to leave that situation, and you need to let that person go. You need to let that person go. That person does not love you if they are putting their hands on you and putting you down, period. Yeah, so I feel like for me, a big lesson that I feel like I learned just this year in 2019 is to let go, and is to just move on. Just move on. And that's not even saying I'll move on to a different person. I'm just saying move on from the situation. Just let that situation go, and who knows, maybe you'll still mess with that person in the future. Who knows? It's just to let it be. Let it stay where it is, right there, okay? And then just move on. Do other things. Focus on other things in your life, because obviously that was doing a lot. But I feel like there was a wake-up call where I said to myself, and I realized, I was like, damn, this is crazy. I can't keep crying every night. I can't be with this person anymore. Like, it's not healthy for me and my mind, period. My mind and my body, anything, it's not healthy. Everybody gets a wake-up call at some point, but sometimes it takes people 5 weeks, sometimes it takes people 5 months, sometimes it takes people 5 years. So you never know. My next point to hit was realizing that you deserve better. So I kind of touched on that topic in the relationships category, but for this one, it's like, even with friendships, because 2 of my closest friends I'm no longer friends with, like, anymore. And there's some other friends who I was closer with, like in the beginning of college and stuff like that, who I don't really talk to now. But I'm talking about 2 specific people who played a huge impact in my life at one point. 2 people that I call my best friends, or called my best friends. They're no longer in my life anymore. It's not even anything of like, I don't like them anymore, I hate them. Like, no, I still love them to death, both of them. But I made the decision to just remove them from my circle, strictly upon me realizing that I deserve better. And this goes for relationships and friendships. Like, they're the same, because when you're in a relationship with somebody, that is your best friend. So it's literally the same thing. But I had to realize that I deserve better. I couldn't be putting in all of the effort. If you are putting in the majority of effort in any friendship or relationship, it's not it. It's not the one. It should always be a tit for tat. It should always be a 50-50. Now, I understand in some cases, like, okay, you have to put in a little bit more because of under certain circumstances, but there should always be some sort of balance, you know? If you feel like you're the one who's always reaching out, or you feel like you're the one who's always putting in the effort and doing this and doing that, then it's like, who's keeping this relationship up? Like, test it out. Stop hitting up that person for a while. Stop doing this for that person. Don't do anything for that person for a while and see what happens. Because you might end up not being friends with them anymore just because you weren't putting in all that work, you know? I always like to give people chances. So I like to, you know, talk things out. I like to have conversations. I think that you should confront these people, and I think that you should have a conversation saying, like, hey, like, this isn't cool, you know, I don't like this. I feel like this, and this. You just stating your feelings and your opinions about it. A lot of people love to just let things slide and let things go. I know, ironically, I just said you need to let things go. I get I just said that, but it's one thing to let a situation go for your own closure, you know, and for your own sanity, but it's another thing to just let something slide, like let something go just because you don't want to deal with it, you know. That's not okay. That's just as unhealthy, because it's still going to be on your conscience. It's still going to be something that was never resolved. And I feel like I had a lot of moments with those people where I would, you know, have conversations with them and I would have talks to them, and like it's still just, it wasn't working. You can only hope that it'll get better. You can, but it's not guaranteed. And I feel like everybody hits a point, or at least for me, I hit a point of, okay, well now I know, like it's not going anywhere. Like, you know, it's not getting any better, so I just dead the whole thing. And for some people that's super, super hard for them, just because like people have history with you and all that stuff. I get it. Like, okay, y'all have history in your friendships. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything if you grew up with that person, because if they're not being a good friend to you right now, if they're not being a good boyfriend, girlfriend to you now, it doesn't matter. You need to be worried about the present and whether you can see them in your life in the future. Not looking at, oh, well, they did this for me back in middle school, so I'm still gonna be their friend. Like, no, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm 21 years old. So just because we've been friends since the 4th grade or however long, that doesn't mean that we're gonna be friends forever, even though we thought at one point that we were, because we were so close. Like, it just, people just drift apart, they grow apart, and you learn from those relationships. It doesn't hurt you, you know? It might hurt a little bit to like actually let that person go and let that friendship, relationship go, but it doesn't actually hurt you. It doesn't hurt your future. If anything, it's gonna benefit your future. It's gonna benefit you, period. Just realizing that you deserve better is like the click. Why does this friend do so much for me? Like, I love her, him, whatever, and this person is just like blah, 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 blah. Granted, everybody's different. You have different relationships with different people. Not everybody is the same, but I'm just saying, once you see an example of somebody doing what you want the other person to do, then it's kind of like, okay, that's also a wake-up call, like realizing like, I deserve this, so why can't this person give me this, you know? It's just, they're just slacking on it. They don't really care to put that much effort into the relationship. Not that they don't care about you, it's just about the relationship. Next point is to stop waiting for things to change in your relationships. Actively try to change things. So just because the other person isn't doing certain things doesn't mean that you're always in the right. Doesn't mean that you're always perfect. So look in the mirror and ask yourself, what could I do to make this relationship better? In a relationship or a friendship, what have you. And if you feel like you're already doing everything, then so be it. But if you feel like there's certain things that you could be doing better, then maybe try and do those things and see where the relationship goes. You can't just sit there and wait for things to change, you know? Just because you're comfortable, you can't just sit there and wait for things to be different, because they're not going to be different. In my last relationship, we always had all these talks and all these things where we felt like things were going to be happening, but what I realized is that we were just talking about the relationship and talking about all these things that we wanted to do and implement, but those things never were implemented 1000%. So nothing actually really changed. If anything, it just got worse. It just became this toxic cycle. So I feel like what people need to do is just stop waiting and just start doing. And by doing, that could mean doing things to better the relationship or ending the relationship. For you to accept the fact that whatever you're going through or whatever you're about to go through is going to hurt you is a huge step. Because if you accept the fact that it's going to hurt and you're at the point where you're willing to cut off this relationship or friendship or whatever it may be, and you know that you're going to be hurt by it, that is a huge step, because that shows that you have the courage to actually go through with it and follow through with it, knowing that it's going to better you at the end of the day, and knowing that it's going to hurt, but it's not going to hurt forever. And I know that sounds so corny, but it's so true. I've been in a couple relationships or a couple flings or whatever where I knew that things just weren't gonna work. I just knew that they weren't. And I knew that this wasn't the person that I just wanted to be surrounded by. Not even like, oh, that I want to marry, but the person that I just want to be surrounded by. So I knew that having them out of my life wasn't necessarily going to feel good. It wasn't going to feel great, but I knew that it was going to benefit me. So I knew that the hurt for right now is so temporary. It's so small compared to the greatness that is coming in the future. It's worth it. Like, the hurt is going to be worth it. Whereas if you're stuck in this relationship, the hurt is not going to be worth it, because especially if it's an ongoing cycle, because you're just going to keep getting hurt again and hurt again and hurt again, and it's not going to be worth it. It's really, really not. It's not, sis. It's not. Dead it. Dead. I just turned my ring light on I don't know if that made things like worse, but I turned it on because the sun's going down, so I don't know if that just makes the lighting really weird, but I'm sorry. When it comes to actually getting over the hurt and cooperating with the actual pain, just know that it's okay to cry, and know that it's okay to be sad, and know that it's okay to be upset, it's okay to be mad, it's okay to be, you know, it's okay to be frustrated. And key to just accepting the hurt is accepting the fact that you're gonna cry, and that it may be every day for a week that you cry, you know. It may be every time you look at the pictures on your phone of memories and things that pop up, you're going to cry, you're going to be hurt. That's okay, because that took me a while to realize, because I used to not cry. I used to literally suck it up, suck my tears back in my eyes and say like, no, like you're not gonna be like, you're not gonna be weak, like you're not doing that. That didn't help me. Honestly, what helped me the most is when I continuously cried every single night about the shit, and until I just wasn't crying anymore. A lot of times the hurt would be before I even ended any sort of friendship or relationship or whatever, and I would be crying or upset or mad or frustrated, and then I would end the relationship, and then I would maybe, you know, shed a couple tears afterwards. But it was so much easier to get over it because I was letting myself release emotion whenever things got bad in whatever toxic relationship I was in. I allowed myself to fully like let it out, so that when the time did come, not that it was planned or anything, but when the time did come, I was okay, you know? I wasn't so distraught and just full of all this emotion and just ready to just do something crazy and irrational. Normally I turn to the gym. That's just one of my things. Fitness has always been one of my things. It's a great way to start every morning. Instead of waking up, looking through your phone, going through old shit, how about you wake up and go to the gym? Wake up and meditate. Wake up and do some yoga. Do something that you have to focus solely on that, and your mind can't really take you elsewhere, if that makes sense. That helps me a lot. I can really take out my energy on whatever activity I'm doing, just to keep my mind off of things. But that's just a way to, you know, help you cope with the hurt. But everybody has their own different ways. Everybody has their own mechanisms that they use. Lastly, I want people to stop feeling like they need somebody to be happy. Like, I know growing up you say everybody's supposed to have a best friend. Everybody's supposed to have a husband. Everybody's supposed to have a boyfriend. Just supposed to. You're not supposed to have anything, you know? Normally, people have these things, yes, because, you know, you develop relationships and you develop feelings, and, you know, you want to have sex, you want to do all these things, you want to have a best friend, you want to do all these things, you just have these things. But you don't have to be best friends for life, you know? You don't have to be boyfriend and girlfriend for life. You don't have to be with the same one guy you've been in with your whole life. Happiness doesn't revolve around those things. You get what I'm saying? Happiness revolves around whatever you want, you know? There are some people that prefer to be homeless, and prefer to be poor, and prefer to be this and this, because that's what makes them happy. I feel like if you're thinking in your head, oh, well, I need a best friend. If I have a best friend, I'm not gonna be happy. Or no, I need a boyfriend. And even if it's toxic, I'm gonna stay with this person because that's why I need to be happy. You have to take yourself out of that mindset of thinking that you have to be with somebody to be happy, or that you need this person to be happy, because just because they make you feel happiness doesn't mean that you need them to be happy. It doesn't mean that they have to be in your life for you to be happy. And you are never going to realize that you don't need that person in your life unless you leave. You're never gonna realize unless you don't have them in your life. The point I'm trying to make is that you don't need a guy to make you happy. You don't need to be in a relationship to make you happy. You don't need a ring on your finger to be happy. You need to find things that you can do by yourself, and that you can do within yourself, and without the help of somebody else. You know, once you become so dependent and so stuck on other people, it causes you to feel lost when that person isn't around. You can't let yourself just sink into that cycle, you know? It's one thing to be comfortable and be in love with somebody. Yes, that's great, but it needs to be healthy. You guys need to be motivating each other. You guys need to be loving each other unconditionally. It needs to be, honestly, whatever you want it to be. But toxic is not one of those things. It can't be one of those things. And if you want to be in an unhealthy relationship, then you have some things that you need to work out on your own. You have some growing to do on your own. And that's just another reason why you should remove yourself from the situation. I feel like some people stay in toxic relationships because they feel like that's the only person that's there for them. They feel like that's the only person that can help them. They feel like that's the only person that really understands them, but that's not the case, because you have people around you, you have family, you have other friends, you know you do, and you'll realize that when shit hits the fan, that person's not there and other people step up. Your happiness is within your control. Like, you control your happiness, you control your life. And I feel like everybody's like, oh my God, I just want to be happy, I just want to be happy, I just want to be happy. And it's like, okay, you keep saying that, because I did that. You know, you keep saying that, and it's like, do it then. Do what's gonna make you happy. Do what you want. And don't worry about other people and opinions and what's gonna happen and this and that. Like, don't, just literally be happy and live for yourself, because at the end of the day, at the very the very end of the day, you are the only person that is there for you, the only person that has your back. So if you're not making yourself happy, then you're literally just sinking yourself into like an eternal hole. Just one more thing, don't beg yourself to be happy. And what I mean by that is, don't try and pick the things that are bright in the relationship, because sometimes it's not all bad. Most of the time it's not all bad, you know, but you need to weigh your pros and cons. This is the cons part. He does this, this, and this, and this, and this that are cons, and he does this, this, and this, and this that make me feel good. So it's like, sis, you need to leave, because if this is the only amount that is making you happy, then that it's not good. Don't force yourself to be happy in the situation. Know that you deserve better, and know that there's better out there for you, whether it's a relationship or a friendship or whatever it may be. Just know there's millions and millions and millions of people in this world. Like, if you just get out of this box that you're in, if you just get out of this shell, if you just move to a different state, do something, you may discover a whole lot of things. I just know that I feel like I needed to release that information, because I feel like you guys deserve an answer for, or as to why I've been so MIA. And I feel like dealing with toxic relationships is part of the reason, but it's not the full reason. A lot of that stuff is personal that I won't be releasing on camera. I want to be more consistent with my channel, because I was doing so well and I hit 100 subscribers, which I'm so happy. Like, thank you guys so much for that again. I posted like on my Instagram, I don't know if you saw that. I was so grateful. Anyways, I just wanted to be real with you guys. I just wanted you guys to kind of have insight as to something that I've been dealing with. And I wanted to help you guys, because you guys do come to me with advice about relationships and friendships and stuff like that on Instagram all the time, and it's hard for me to get back, you know, in text paragraph after paragraph. So I felt like, let me just like film a video. This will be one of those videos that I don't really edit so much. It might be a longer video, but somebody that needs to hear this will hear this. At the end of the day, just all in all, know your worth. And that's something that I preach all the time. Hopefully I got across to some of you guys. Hopefully this helps some of you guys. I have a few like pre-filmed videos I'll be getting up, so please stay tuned. Don't tune out to my channel. I'm not completely gone. I'm still here. I feel like with all of this YouTube craze going on right now and all this drama that has to do with a lot of, you know, relationships and friendships, I feel like you guys might need to hear some of this information. So yeah, hopefully it helped you guys, and I love you, and I'll see you in my next video.